Hello, I'm Carter Threlkeld, and welcome to Introduction to Worship. Let's begin today's lesson. Today we are going to begin our study on the instruments with the study of the woodwind family. The woodwinds include a variety of instruments: the flute, clarinet, saxophone, oboe, bassoon. Some also will include the recorder as one of these instruments. Each of these instruments, as you will see, has many members of their own family. And sometimes we categorize the woodwinds into two categories: the single reed, like the clarinet and saxophone, and the double reed, like the oboe and bassoon, or no reed at all, like the flute and the recorder. So let's begin. The oldest woodwind instrument is the flute. The flute family also includes instruments like the recorder, the ocarina, the transverse flute played sideways, which is actually the oldest type of flute there is. There's also a version of the flute that sounds an octave higher than the regular flute, and that is called the piccolo. And then there's the alto flute, which is a pitched 1/4 interval lower, and the bass flute, which sounds an octave below. It's interesting that the modern flute, as we know it, was largely developed by Theobald Boehm in the 19th century. While earlier flutes were made of wood or sometimes bone, Mr. Boehm's innovations in 1833 through 1847 included a new system of metal flutes with cylindrical bore, and his system laid the foundation for the modern flute. The main difference was it was much more powerful, much louder, and by the 20th century, these flutes had become the standard in Europe and America. This came just in time for the Romantic era composers who embraced these flutes because they had a bigger, more powerful sound, and they were going for bigger, more powerful orchestras at that time. Here are some great examples of some flute music. Next, we're going to look at the clarinet. And as you see in the photo, there are many types of clarinet. There's the standard clarinet, and on the left. And then if you look at that series of clarinets, you have the contrabass clarinet, the bass clarinet, the alto bass clarinet, the bass clarinet, the clarinet, the E-flat clarinet, the B-flat soprano clarinet, and on many types of clarinets. And they all are different pitched. There's one of those clarinets is the A clarinet, which sounds half step lower than the B-flat clarinet. And all of these, as they get larger, they just get pitched lower, usually by a ratio of a fourth or an octave. The clarinet and the saxophone are single reed instruments. These instruments have roots in ancient history, with examples like the Egyptian instrument called the mermet, dating all the way back to 2700 BC, and there are many pictures of these instruments. The clarinet itself, they say, evolved from the chalumeau, a Baroque single reed instrument that looks like a recorder. In the late 1600s, keys were added to the chalumeau, extending its range and enabling it to play a wider variety of notes. Chalumeau is spelled Chalumeau, Chalumeau. The bell was also enlarged, giving the instrument more volume. The name clarinet comes from the Italian word clarinetto, which means little trumpet. This name was given to it because the early clarinets had a sound similar to a trumpet, particularly in the middle range. While the clarinet was prominent in early jazz styles like Dixieland, it was probably at its peak of popularity in the swing era of the 1930s and 40s. This is when it became even more central to jazz with the rise of these big bands, mainly because their directors, Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw, were clarinet players themselves. I hope you'll enjoy that YouTube link to some clarinet music. The other single reed woodwind instrument is called the saxophone. It was invented by a single individual. His name was Adolphe Sax, and hence the name saxophone. History tells us that Adolphe Sax, who lived from 1814 to 1894, was a musical instrument designer born in Belgium. He played many wind instruments, and his idea was to create an instrument that combined the best qualities of a woodwind instrument with the best qualities of a brass instrument. And in the 1840s, he conceived of the saxophone. His invention was patented in Paris in 1846. Since it was first invented, the saxophone has always been made of brass. Because of the principles by which it produces sound, however, it is classified as a woodwind, much like the clarinet and flute. Like the clarinet and flute, there are many members of the saxophone family. The sopranino sax is pitched an octave above the alto sax. The soprano sax is pitched an octave above the tenor sax. And then moving to the right in this picture, you have the alto sax. Then we have the tenor sax, the baritone sax, and the bass saxophone. Next, we have the double reed instruments. And the oboe and the bassoon and the English horn are called double reed instruments. A double reed is a reed consisting of two pieces, as you see in this photograph, two pieces of cane that are bound together and vibrate against each other. This vibration creates a rich and complex sound or waveform, with the oboe typically having a sharper, more focused tone, and the bassoon a deeper and more resonant tone. This video demonstrates the unique sounds of the oboe and the bassoon, and show how how sometimes the French horn is used, as we mentioned before in our study of the brass family, how the French horn is used to blend in with the woodwind sounds. Well, that ends our study of the woodwind section. The woodwinds, more than the brass or strings, are usually used to express and imitate nature in music. From bird songs and storms to tranquil forests and meandering rivers, the woodwinds provide us with that sound. This last link is to one of the most famous pastoral settings of music, describing a nature scene. It features the woodwind section, and it's called Morning Mood. Well, that's the end of our lesson today. I hope it was a blessing to you.